Hello students, I hope you are all doing good. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the non-chordate phylums. So most of the students, they have a little doubts and confusion. Sir, so we are unable to remember these many points in the phylums. So unable to understand the terminology. But actually, the thing is, if you go within a step-by-step manner, in a simple way, non-chordate phylums are very, very easy. Am I clear? So in this video, we'll discuss about the phylum Annelida in a simple way, right? So first of all, Annelida, which has a unique feature. So like that, every phylum will be having a unique feature. So first we need to sort out. So these all the annelids are segmented organisms. Then if you observe here, these all the organisms are having segments. Am I clear? The segmented organisms are categorized under phylum Annelida, right? And these segments are generally called as metamers. First thing is what? Segmented organisms are called as what? Annelids. Am I clear? The segments are known. What? Metamers. The segments are known as what? Metamers. The term has taken Annelida from the annules. Annules means a small rings or a segments. Okay. Right? So these organisms, as I told you, will be composed of the segments. The segments are known as metamers. The arrangement of the segments is known as what? Metamerism. The term is very, very important. Metamerism. The first thing. Am I clear? Next one, if you check it out, a simple generalization, some of the points, because every phylum will have some of the general features. In the objective point of view, very, very easy. Because the question they may ask, so from the following, a set of characters, obviously you may do the mistakes. So that is the reason you need to sort out initially whenever you are going to revise the concept. This is a first coelomic organism. And next one is, we'll have a first closed type of circulatory system and along with a first nephridia. Okay now, first nephridia. Here, these are general and a minimum important characters of the Annelida. Am I clear? So that kind of coelom, as I told you, the first coelom. What kind of coelom? Cytocoelom. So we going to discuss in types of coelom. The first coelomic organization will be seen in Annelida, that to cytocoelom. So there you need to recall, that is what? Cyto. Cyto means what? Splitting. Cyto means splitting of what? Mesoderm. The splitting of mesoderm to form the cavity is nothing but what? Cytocoelom. And one more is closed type of circulatory system. So the same manner, in the base of classification, a concept is there, that is what? Open type and closed type of circulation. Here, this closed type of circulation, which will be having the vessels. If the vessels are absent, obviously, that is a open type of circulatory system. If the vessels are present, that is belongs to what? Closed type of circulatory system. And one more, as I have mentioned here, nephridia. Am I clear? So nephridia are the excretory organs. We have a nephron. The term, if you check it out, nephridia, nephron. Nephridia are the tubular structures. This is present in the lower organization. But nephron, we have a nephron as a tubular structure which is involving in the excretion. In the similar, nephridia is in a lower which has transformed into a higher organization as a nephron. Am I clear? And one more important here, if you check it out here, serial homology. Okay now? Serial homology means all the segments in the Annelida, they are in a equalized manner. Hence it is called as serial homology. The segmentation also homonymous metamerism. Homonymous metamerism means what? Metamerism, as I told you, that is what? Arrangement of the segments. Homonymous metamerism, it is all the segments are in a equalized manner is called as serial homology. It represents internal and external, these two parts. Internal and as well as external. These all the parts will be dividing. Am I clear? See, these all the organisms will be having the segments. The majority all the segments are in a equalized manner. Hence, it is called what? Homonomous metamerism. We'll be finding in an easy way all the segments are in what? Equalized manner. Okay, na? Right. So let us move on to the general characteristics one by one. Here, the task will be started. Sir, it's very difficult, but it's a simple way. The first of all, habitat. Every phylum, we starts with the habitat. Habitat is nothing but the area or the home of the particular organism where it will be surviving. So these are aquatic, terrestrial, and along with that, mostly free living. And the same manner here it is, we need to remember the examples. Aquatic. So from the following, which one is a aquatic annelid? You may get a question. It's nothing but what? Nereis. Nereis, which is a aquatic annelid, that is also having the segment, but it is present in the water. Hence it is called as what? Nereis. And next one is what? Terrestrial. Terrestrial, earthworm. Just as you have seen, earthworm will be having the segments. Am I clear? Nereis also having segments, but this earthworm which will be available or which will be habituated to survive on the land, but here this is a aquatic. And along with that, leech. One more important what? Leech. Am I clear? So leech is an organism will be considering as a ectoparasite. Sometimes a question may be asked, from the following which one is a ectoparasitic annelid? It is belongs to Phylum Annelida, and the same manner at what kind of nature does it has? Okay, na? Next. And mostly free living, few are parasitic. So here the parasitic example is what? Leech. Okay, now next one is levels of organization. Okay, so levels of organization, then obviously what will be having organ system, because the levels of organization is a concept as I have mentioned in the basis of classification. Levels of organization, cells, tissues, organs, organ system. So this is a phylum which starts from the higher non-chordates and will be having organ system, and the same manner which has a triploblastic. Here also we need to recall, triploblastic means what? Which is composed of the 3 primary germ layers. Okay, now so those are what? Ectoderm, and second one is mesoderm, third one is endoderm. So we'll be having 3 primary germ layers, hence it is called triploblast. Am I clear? And one more is mesoderm is going to be split to form what? Coelom. So that's the representation here, cytocoelom. First I have given the generalization, the majority characters. First coelomic, first nephridia, along with that first closed type of circulatory system. We need to recall always, otherwise you can't remember. Obviously, sir, I can't remember anything. So that's what we need to recall in everywhere, wherever the terminology which will be relevant. Okay, now next, metamerism. Here, metamerism, nothing but what? Segments. Okay, so segmented body will be external and as well as internal, because all the body parts will be dividing as external and as well as internal, and that will be here external and internal. The external segmentation which will be known annuli, and internal segmentation is known as what? Septa. Here the term septa or septum, which is a dividing structure. Sir, what is the use of this septum? And again you are going to learn in the Heart. Heart will have a 4 chamber. They are going to be separated by the septum. So this is a interlinked. Then obviously you should go with the interlinking of the concepts, because the exam will be based on the oral textbook, right? Next, here the terms peristomium and as well as prostomium. Here it is the terminology. This is important. If you observe here, prostomium and as well as a peristomium. What is the difference? Here is a little confusion. Then before that, if you check it out, the term stomium. What does it mean by the stomium? Okay now. So here stomium means mouth. Stomium means mouth. Okay. Here it is. We'll be finding the term stomium where protostomium, deuterostomium. Okay now, here it is. We need to recall protostomium and deuterostomium. The term stomium means what? Mouth. Okay, here the first segment, this you need to sort out. The first segment of the earthworm, if you check it out, it's nothing but what? Peristomium. What do you mean by peri? Around. Okay now, then what is prostomium? Which is a small outgrowth from the mouth. It's called as what? Prostomium. And you may get a diagrammatic question also. Okay, so here what? The first segment, I have written it very clearly. Peristomium, which is nothing but the first segment, and prostomium, which is a small outgrowth. Is it clear now? Which is what? A small outgrowth. It is a prostomium. The common thing you may get little confusion here. What? Stomium is a common word, but pro and peri, this is important. Okay now? Right. Next one is body wall. Then how the body wall? Body wall, which is a single layer. The first thing is body wall, which is a single layer, and it has a albuminoid cuticle. Means the outer layer is composed of a protein. It is nothing but what? Albumin. Hence it is called as albuminoid cuticle, and it is composed of an epithelium. What is that? Columnar epithelium. Okay now, columnar epithelium. Fine. Next one. And this body wall will have two kinds of muscles. One is longitudinal muscle and as well as a circular muscles. These longitudinal and circular muscles helps to movement of the organism, because generally the earthworm which will be moving. Am I clear? The anterior and posterior body. Here, this is the anterior and this is the posterior. But generally what happens? From the posterior to anterior, the body will be pushing. Am I clear? So that's what, for the movement, these longitudinal and circular muscles will be involving in the locomotion by the contraction. Hence we have mentioned over there, these are the contractile muscles. Those are two. Okay now. Next. And one more important term is what? Setae or a chaetae. What does it mean? Setae or chaetae. So these organisms will have a small chitinous bristles. Okay. So this is a segment. Okay. The segments will be like this, and which will be having a small chitinous bristles will be there, and that too those are present on the epidermis. Epidermis means what? Outer covering. Epi means outer, dermis, skin. Everywhere we should split the terms, so then only these all the terms will be easy. And one more important aspect here, that is what? Parapodia. Okay now, what is parapodia? Again, here it is. Podium generally. Pseudopodia, where do you find? Those are the locomotory organs. Podia, foot or feet we are telling. Okay now. Para, laterally. The mostly will be seen in the aquatic annelids. Aquatic annelids will be finding the lateral unjointed external appendages. Here it is, sir. Why we have mentioned here unjointed? So generally we are mentioning it is a external appendage. What do you mean by appendage? So this is my appendage. Am I clear? Okay, now here the external part which arises from the body, it is called as appendage. But the thing is, here we have mentioned over there unjointed, but next to phylum in the arthropoda jointed legs. So that's what here we have mentioned, what? Unjointed. Okay, na? See, this is a Nereis. Okay, and especially if you check it out here, we'll be finding these are the external appendages. Am I clear? So these are the external appendages called as what? Parapodia. So these parapodia helps in the locomotion for the movement. Okay, now locomotion along with the respiration also. Okay, we'll discuss little later. But the thing is here, mostly these are what? Locomotory organs, and the same manner which is involving in the respiration. Okay, now? Right. So example, Nereis. So here, two aspects. One is Nereis is an example for the aquatic annelid and where which has an external appendages. Okay. The next thing is coelom. Yeah, again the coelom has come. Sir, always this will be repeating. Obviously, the entire base of classification, the phylums, this all the terminology. But majority of the students, they may lose the marks because of this a little confusion. Coelom. Here it is. Coelom. What kind of coelom? Cytocoelom. So generally what is coelom? Body cavity. Again we need to recall. Okay, na? Otherwise everything will be evaporate. So what? Coelom, nothing but body cavity. What kind of coelom here? Cytocoelom. Again we need to remember cyto, splitting of what? Just as I have told. What is that? Splitting of mesoderm. Splitting of what? Mesoderm, and that is responsible for the formation of coelom. So here you need to remember the cytocoelom, which is the first kind of a coelom, and that annelida is an example. Example of the annelida is earthworm. These are all interlinked. Simple, right? And one more, the most unique feature in everywhere we need to sort out the unique feature in the leeches. Okay, so leeches, the coelom is reduced to excretory and as well as reproductive. Okay, now the coelom is here reduced to excretory system and as well as reproductive system. Here, because this is a organism which will be acting as a ectoparasite. Why? Because obviously which feeds on the blood. The entire blood is sucked by the organism and which has to store. That is the reason the coelom will be like that. And next one is cephalization. Here one more, the most important thing, cephalon. What does it mean by cephalon? Which represents head or a nervous system. A distinct head will be formed. In the same manner, tentacles are present in the Polychaeta. Okay, now. Right? So then how the leech is sucking the blood and which has to store in the body. So that is why the coelom which has a little modification comparable to the other organization. Okay, now. Next one. Right. Move on to the digestive system. Then how the digestive system? So digestive system which is a complete gut. What does it mean by complete gut? So generally we have two terms in this. One is incomplete and one more is complete. Okay. So incomplete gut which has either mouth or anus, in the sense one opening that is only acting as a mouth and anus, But here we'll have a two openings, mouth and as well as anus. Right? Okay, na? Next, then move on to the digestion. Digestion is extracellular. Here a little clarity. Okay, na? Digestion, it is a physiological function of the particular system, digestive system, which is involving in the digestion process, and that digestion is takes place in a particular tubular structure, nothing but a alimentary canal. Hence, it is extracellular digestion. Because if you check it out, such as Porifera or other phylums, Cnidaria like that, they have a intracellular like that we are mentioning, because the special cells are mentioned to a particular function. But here the system has developed, hence the digestion is in extracellular. And next one is respiration. Then what kind of respiration? Then first of all is here simple diffusion, and one more is what? Cutaneous. What do you mean by cutaneous? Here cutaneous means the respiration through the skin. Okay, na? The respiration through skin is called as cutaneous respiration. Skin, it is nothing but cuticle. Skin is nothing but what? Cuticle. Hence it is called as cutaneous respiration. Okay? Yeah. In Nereis, just as I have mentioned, no, Nereis parapodia which will be there here, these parapodia or acts as a modified gills because it is aquatic. And next, if you move on to the arthropoda, then obviously prawns, all the prawns are aquatic. In the same manner, aquatic arthropods also, they are respired through the gills. So that is why this parapodia will be present in the Nereis and which acts as a modified gills. Okay, next, and these are highly vascularized. Here one more important, and everyone, you have to aware about the alphabets. Sir, what is the use of the alphabets? Obviously, if you check it out, letter V, V for vessel and V for vascular. In everywhere, so we have a specific letter with a specific word, and that helps to recall the terminology. Vascularized, highly vascularized means what? And these entire parapodia which will be composed of the vessels to supply the blood. Have you clear now? So what I have mentioned here, V for vessel, V for vascular, nothing but the vascular system. Got it? Okay. Right. So next one, circulatory system. What kind of circulatory system is there? So circulatory system is closed and open. Here a little clarity. The closed type of circulatory system, vessels are present, and those vessels are especially arranged in a longitudinal, dorsal and ventral. If you have a glance, then how it is? Yeah. See. Right. So dorsal blood vessel, ventral blood vessel. So this is an organism, earthworm. Here in this area, dorsal blood vessel there, and here this is a ventral. So like that, dorsal blood vessel and as well as a ventral blood vessel. But I have mentioned which is having closed type of circulatory system. The reason is where we'll have a dorsal blood vessel and as well as a ventral blood vessel. Got it? Due to that reason, we have a mention over there. This is what? Closed type of circulatory system. Okay now. And next one is open type. Open type. Obviously, what happens? The entire body cavity is going to be splitting into small spaces, and those are called as sinuses. Coelomic sinuses. Okay now, coelomic sinuses. Here, this is a unique feature. Closed type of circulatory system is seen in example earthworm, and here open is leech. Because wherever you have a unique, then obviously we need to sort out. That is important for the examination point of view, right? Next, respiratory pigment. So here also very important. What is mean by respiratory pigment? Which helps to carry the gases. Then what is the respiratory pigment in our body? Then obviously hemoglobin. Here also hemoglobin is present, but that is dissolved in plasma. Then where do we have a hemoglobin? In RBC, red color pigment. But here the respiratory pigment is present in the plasma. So like that, wherever you find such kind of terminology, you need to link up with the higher organization or the higher animals like human beings, because we have a human physiology. Then obviously we need to link up with that. Okay. Next, in leeches, there is no true vascular system. Why? Because open, and that too, that is known as hemocoelomic system. Okay, na? Hemocoelomic system. Why? Because the coelom is going to be split into sinuses, which is filled with the blood. It's nothing but the coelomic fluid, right? And one more is what? Excretory system. Starting I told you, nephridia, first time nephridia, which has transformed into nephron, and these nephridia are present in the segments, and those are belongs to metanephridia type. Okay, now, right? So here these are the nephridia. Then how those are arranged? If you check it out, from anterior to posterior, in every segment we are going to find the nephridia. If you check it out, pharyngeal nephridia, am I clear? Near the pharynx region, around that 1, 2, 3, 4, approximately 1 to 4 or 5 segments. Okay, the next move on to integumentary segments, from the gizzard to around the stomach ridge, and the remaining 4 of the integumentary nephridia. Means every segment which will be composed of the nephridia. Okay, now, so these are excretory organs, the excretory structures in the annelida, right? And this is what the middle yellow color line, which represents alimentary canal. So that alimentary canal is what? Complete gut. So like that, we should revise with the help of diagram, and that will be work. Okay, na? Next, move on to the function of the excretory system. Here two aspects. One is osmoregulation, one more is excretion. Excretion, removal of the waste materials. Then osmoregulation, what? Regularizing the ions or ionic balance. So this is also the most of the students, they are in a confusion. Osmoregulation is nothing but what? Ionic balance, maintaining the ionic balance, and excretion is removal of the waste materials. And the most important thing, nervous system, which will be having a nerve ring which acts as a brain like structure, and ganglia, and one more important, here it is double ventral nerve cord. What is that? Double ventral nerve cord. And here the most important thing, yeah, so this is a nervous system. Then what I have mentioned over there, this is a nerve ring, right? So this nerve ring, right? It acts as a brain, but it's not exact brain. Am I clear? And also will have a ganglia. Then every segment, this ganglia will be there. Okay, now ganglia nothing but the group of sidons. So generally we are using in the higher animals. So here we can conclude that is a nerve fibers also. Okay, now what they given? Segmental ganglia means this ganglia which will be present in a particular segment. Am I clear? And that too where it is present? Ventral region. Here the most important thing is non-chordates. Non-chordates will have a nervous system on the ventral side. We are chordates. We have a nervous system on a chordates. We have a nervous system on dorsal. So this is the most important thing. We have a heart on the ventral side, right? And the nervous system, the spinal cord on the dorsal side. But non-chordates, they have a nervous system on the ventral side and the heart is dorsal side. So this is the most important thing and definitely you may miss in the examination. Have you got the clarity? Non-chordates, they have a nervous system on the ventral side. That too we are mentioning that is a double ventral, and here it is chordates will have a dorsal side. I hope it's clear, right? Okay, so like that we need to sort out in everywhere the terminology. Okay, right. Next, sense organs. So generally sense organs are somewhat lower, okay now, means not highly developed, but they have a sensation such as eyes, palps, tentacles. And here T for touch, again as I have mentioned, alphabets you should aware. T for touch, T for tactile, okay. And gustatory, the term gustatory represents what? Taste, okay now, these are the receptor. And photoreceptor, they are responsible for the vision, okay now. Next, reproduction. If we check it out, these are categorized based on the presence and absence of the reproductive system. Here we have a mention over there monoecious and dioecious. Here di, first we'll complete this one. Di means two organisms are having separate systems. Male and female organisms are separate, okay na. Here it is monoecious. Monoecious means nothing but what? The male and female reproductive systems present in one organism, okay now. Male and female reproductive systems are present in one organism, and such kind of organisms are called as bisexual. Bisexual. Here it is, we are mentioning what? Unisexual. So this is also most of you getting confused in a non-chordate phylums. Okay, here it is di, we are telling what? Two separate. Here it is bisexual. Bisexual means both male and female reproductive systems are present in one organism, hence it is called as hermaphrodite. Okay now, hermaphrodite. Again here example you need to sort out like this: earthworm and as well as leech. Okay, but here dioecious example is what? Nereis. And again you need to recall Nereis is a aquatic annelid, and again which has a unique feature is parapodia. So that is a locomotory, and the same manner that helps in the respiration also. So like that you need to link up. Okay na. Next, fertilization. Then fertilization is what? External. Fertilization is external because both the male and female earthworms, the organisms, will become closer in opposite direction, and they will be exchanging in the gametes. Here gamete, what is gamete? Gamete is a reproductive cell or a germ cell. Then gonad is a reproductive organ. Okay, so regarding some of the basics we'll discuss in another class. Okay now. So that is also very, very important, right? Okay. Right. Next, cleavage. Cleavage is nothing but what? Division or zygote. Okay. Then before that, I want to tell you one more point here. Mostly they will be forming the cocoon. Here they have a clitellum. Mostly this area. Okay na. So this area is nothing but what? Clitellum. Okay. So around 11 to 16 or 13 to 14 segments like that. They have an oblate structure. It is called a what? Clitellum. See here, we'll be finding, and these clitellum right now. So this is a clitellum area. Okay. So that clitellum after fertilization will be come out and will be developing as a cocoon. So that's the reason we have mentioned the fertilization is outside. Okay na? Right. So cleavage means what? division of what? Zygote is going to be divided. Here also the one more important aspect. So this is a zygote. It is going to divide into 2 cells, then 4 cells. So what's happening? The zygote is splitting and to form the multiple cells. Then whatever the cells are called as blastomeres, the division is called as cleavage. So these all will be linked up with the basis of classification. Okay na? Next, the kind of cleavage is holoblastic. The entire every corner of the zygote will be divided and the pattern is spiral cleavage. Next, development either direct or indirect. Here also the most important thing, you are missing out the marks here. Direct without larva stage. If it is indirect, then obviously larva stage will be there. And here the one more important aspect, the direct is will be seen in monoecious and indirect in a dioecious. Okay na? Right? So annelids are oviparous, then as I have mentioned over there, which will be forming the ootheca or cocoon. And here we mention what? Indirect. Indirect in the sense obviously what has to be larva stage. Then what is a larva? Trochophore larva. In every phyla, the majority will be seen indirect development. So indirect in the sense obviously we need to focus on the larva. What is the larva name? Then what is the larva name here? Trochophore larva. Right? Then move on to the examples. What are the examples? Nereis, which is an aquatic annelid, and earthworm. Example, Ferritema postuma. Next, Hirudinea, blood sucking leech. So these are the examples as per the NCERT. So you need to focus obviously on the NCERT because that is a final criteria for the examination, right? So just have a glance, a little brief. Okay, na? One by one. Right. So just have a glance. So in this we discussed about the what is Annelida, then metamorph, unique feature, segmentation, and the major general characters. Okay now. Then followed by what here? The next one is general character. Then habitat, levels of organization. Along with that, what is the metamerism and the homonomous. And then prostomium, peristomium. Here it is peristomium, which is a first segment, and followed by prostomium, which has a small outgrowth. Okay now, right? Then body wall, then habitus, which is a single albuminide protein coat. Okay now, and which composed of the circular muscles and as well as a longitudinal for the locomotion. And setae or kete, small chitinous brush appearance. And parapodia, as I told you, in the Nereis, which is an aquatic. Coelom is cytocoelom. Okay, cephalization, obviously, which is present. Then digestive system, complete gut and extracellular. Respiration, the majorly cutaneous. In Nereis, parapodia for what? Modified gills. Okay, na? Locomotion also. And the next one is circulatory system, open and closed. Closed in a earthworm, open is in the leech. Right? Then sense organs. And one more important, as I have mentioned here, monoecious and dioecious. Monoecious also called as bisexual. Here it is called as unisexual. Right? Then fertilization we discussed, external, cleavage, holoblastic, and development, direct or indirect. Here it is the most important thing. Indirect is nothing but what? Which has a larva. Okay na? And also will be forming the cocoon. Okay na? Right? Then larva, trochophore. Examples. Okay? So this is a complete briefing about Annelida. I hope you understood. So like that, if you revise one by one in a step-by-step manner, and these phylums are easy for you, but you need to focus on the examples. Okay na? And terminology. I hope it's clear. Okay? So we'll discuss the next topic in the next video, and thank you so much.